Welcome to Another Look, a film podcast where we go back and discuss a filmmaker's body of work, from their hits to their misses, as well as genres, eras, movements, and everything in between. On this week's episode, we are talking about nuclear warfare. I'm Ian Killian.
I'm Jordan Mushno.
I'm Ben Riley.
Gunther Creekbaum.
And we have a special guest for this episode.
Jamie Garrett.
So, our boy Jamie's in the house with us, and since we're talking about, we're dealing, the movies we picked are dealing with nuclear warfare, just because that's something that's in our conscious mind again. You know, it's almost a Cold War feeling of just some little paranoia. You know, little rocket man out there. He's doing business that I don't like, you know. Me and Trump, not too happy about it. So we brought in our friend Jamie Garrett to talk to us about North Korea. He's our North Korea correspondent.
I actually just got back. Just got out of the coma, so we're all good.
So yeah. So did you watch what we watched at all?
I did. I watched Dr. Strangelove, and I also I attempted to check out A Boy and His Dog, and I couldn't make it through.
Yeah, it's bad. Can you talk a little bit closer to the mic?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and yeah, A Boy and His Dog. We'll get into it with both of them. But what'd you think about Dr. Strangelove?
Dr. Strangelove, definitely a classic. Obviously, my big thing is that Dr. Strangelove is it's way funnier than I remembered it being, because the last time I watched it was years ago, and I think I was fucking drunk or something.
Yeah.
Just like not really paying attention. Whereas this time I was taking my time, really looking into it, and obviously the satirical aspects really stand out, but also just like the little jokes that you just have to be paying attention to get, like the like no fighting in the war room, that sort of thing. Where I was like, wait, what? That's hilarious.
Everything's so subtle, and it works so well. But so both movies are one, like Doctor Strangelove is like before something happens, and A Boy and His Dog is after. So we're kind of covering the gamut of this topic. Do you have anything that of like a movie or any pop culture that you enjoy that has to do with like apocalypse or nuclear shit? Or
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the big thing with like post-apocalyptic stuff, it's been in the cultural zeitgeist a lot lately. You've been noticing the past decade, like all these new novel series and stuff that are getting big, like The Hunger Games, Divergent, all that sort of stuff is all about post-apocalyptic societies. And it seems like even during Obama's presidency, for some reason, people were concerned that like something's going to go down, and now it's feeling much more prescient. Much more of a pressing matter. Like
this is gonna fucking happen.
It's pretty amazing that we were already on it felt like a tipping point, and then the man that was elected was like, he is a human tipping point. That sort of thing.
Yeah, because we were dealing with like other nations being a little like iffy. We had what was it, like Iran during Obama, and like I think like even some North Korea stuff, and it's just like, oh, the government can fix that. You know what I mean? Now we think it's even more incompetent than it is, and we're just like, oh, we feel even more helpless.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was talking to one of my coworkers the other day, and we were just talking about Trump and how he goes about his life. And one of her points was like, I like that he's being kind of tough with North Korea. And then 2 days later, we were talking about the same thing. She was like, "This is bad, man. This is like this guy's ridiculous. Like, what's he doing?"
Like tweeting tough is different than acting tough. Yeah. So
Undermining his foreign policy advisors and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's definitely weird, because I think like this day and age, this idea is like still relevant, because it's such a like a technology that seems like we shouldn't be able to harness. It's a thing that I don't know, it's bigger than us maybe, it's so destructive, so apocalyptic, that it's just like we're just stupid human beings. No matter who you are, no matter, like, people fuck up at like any intelligence level. You know what I mean?
Even in Dr. Strangelove, there's the part where I mean, just the basic plot of it, how just a guy goes kind of
he
like, you shouldn't have that easy of a process to be able to send a nuclear weapon anywhere. It should be more of a, process. So you shouldn't just have someone just able to do and that's our problem right now.
To a plane, and there it goes.
Yeah. And you can't do anything. Like, once it's going, it's like, what can you do?
That reminds me, I was in Japan for a little bit, and I woke up to a text message alert. Everybody got it in Japan, and it said a ICBM was launched from North Korea and flew over Japan at this island, and it's like, oh fuck, and I was like the only one awake at the time, and everybody else was sleeping in, and I was just like, fuck, I don't know what to think or do, and I just was like, I was very nervous and anxious for like a half hour, and I was like, well, if I go to sleep, I won't know I died.
I don't think you'd know you'd die if it happened.
Yeah,
it'd be so fast.
Yeah,
man. I mean, the tough part with nuclear weapons, especially, is that they seem to have like every weapon, like a gun, has existential. Has this existential capacity to like end a life.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But there's something about nuclear weapons, especially, where the idea is that it had a much, I would say, a wider range of existential kind of impact when we realize, like, when talk about like Dr. Strangelove and the Doomsday Machine. It's like we have them.
Yeah.
And the only country that ever deployed one is America.
Yeah.
We're still the only country
that
was
is
like,
very,
you know what, we're gonna do it.
That is very weird to think about, actually.
Yeah, it's a weapon with no precision.
Yeah,
everybody dies.
You're not pointing at one guy, the bad guy necessarily. You're pointing it at everybody.
Not according to Hills Have Eyes.
What are you talking about? What do you mean?
In Hills Have Eyes, not everybody died.
Well, they were effects of it, though. You know what I mean?
That was like radiation
and like testing. Yeah. So,
dude, we would be in the Hills Have Eyes if 3 Mile Island had actually melted down in like 1973. I remember my dad was working at the Votech school in Ben's, in my hometown, and he that when all the alarms started going off and stuff, everyone's like, "Oh, is there like a fire or something?" And they're like, "No, there's a nuclear power plant that might melt down and destroy everything in Pennsylvania."
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, so what do we do? And they're like, I just get under your desk. I don't know.
Yeah, so the wind of radiation, this green wind coming by.
Go inside a fridge.
Yeah, Indiana Jones did it. Well, I remember, this is getting a little dark, but on like 9/11, there was a rumor at our school that 3 Mile Island was targeted or something like that. I think some fucking nerd made it up, I think. And Brandon Ivano, if you're listening, it's your fucking fault. You shit in a urinal.
Yeah, man. So I used to lived in Harrisburg like halftime, while like it was basically during the summer. I'd like live with my dad and then come back up here for school. And an interesting thing we learned during that summer is that apparently Air Force One. This is my understanding, and like based on visual confirmation, this is what I have. It might not be fully factual, so if someone out there can fact check me, that'd be great. But the idea is that Air Force One, when it needs to like circle around somewhere and like land for a couple hours, it'll come to Harrisburg, because Harrisburg's far enough away, and there's not enough like air traffic to really have to divert a lot of planes. So the idea is like Air Force One flies over 3 Mile Island multiple times a week. So it is kind of weird to think that if someone was going to target a nuclear plant, that would be the one to target. And especially if you can coincide, like it could be a legitimate like national emergency on a scale we've never seen.
You just gave the wrong people ideas.
I'm sure they're listening. It's true.
Well, the people that listen to Another Look
are all North Korea.
Are all on high alert school.
It's true.
School shooter types.
We were all on lists.
Yeah.
Every school that had a list, it's like, oh, no,
well, living in this house with Leyland, where we get NRA, and then I'm like, so we're definitely on a fucking list. So,
you get NRA stuff in the mail.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
And then recently, you guys might not have got this, but we got a pamphlet for a local South Williamsport church that has an ISIS flag, an American flag, and then like a helicopter in between them, and like a Bible, and it's like fight for freedom for faith or something like that, and it's just like pretty like meet here for to learn how to have a good American family. Meet here on Sunday to learn how to what's going on in the world, and it's just like, Oh man,
Who are they targeting with that propaganda?
Trump, South Williamsport people, because I passed it.
Trolls, South
What
Williamsport
church is it?
trolls.
I passed it, and it looked like a full house. There was a lot of people at that church, so their flyering may have done good for them because but it was like very scary looking, and I don't know, it's weird times.
The Christian right.
Yeah,
True. I was actually kind of along those lines. One of the big things for me from like coming from like a sort of I did some philosophy work in college.
Okay.
And there was something when I was watching Dr. Strangelove, I started to think about there's a German philosopher named Hannah Arendt who had this idea of the banality of evil.
Okay.
The idea is that like she was looking at Nazis, and the idea that like these people just thought they were like they're just doing their jobs, that sort of thing. And as I was watching Dr. Strangelove, it is weird that I think culturally we like to think that if there was going to be like a nuclear emergency, people would be freaking out and like it'd be crazy. But everybody in Dr. Strangelove is just sitting there placidly at a table.
They're so calm.
Kind of like this. There's like
and even the pilots feel like they're doing the right thing or something patriotic by doing their duty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It's just some forced sense of patriotism to destroy an entire city or whatever they were targeting. I forget what they were targeting.
Somewhere in Russia.
Yeah. It was like I think it was like a missile silo or something.
Yeah, I mean the Dr. Strangelove it's like satirizing real shit. Because I mean like with Dwight D. Eisenhower, his whole thing was that it's the MAD, maximum display of force or whatever. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And his whole thing was like if Russia does anything, if they move an inch, we're launching everything we have.
Yeah, I think it was 2 years before this movie was released that it was the Cuban Missile Crisis. You know what I mean? So like it's still fresh on people's minds that they're this whole mess. And but that what you're talking about remind me of like what is it, the Nuremberg trials or something like that?
Yeah,
where it's just like
she was studying that as well.
okay, just like just doing our jobs, but you're shooting Jews, and you know what I mean. So it is very weird. Like, how could something that crazy get passed through? And it does get passed through multiple people. It goes from phone call to the plane in the movie. Because I always think like, if this happens, there's gonna be some guy that's gonna be like, no, that's not a good idea. But well, I guess we'll see someday.
Yeah, man. I mean, Dr. Strangelove himself is one that makes the good point where he says, like, if you're going to have a doomsday machine, like, people have to know about it.
Yeah, that's the point of it.
That's the whole thing.
It is an interesting concept of would that make worldwide peace? Having this giant weapon that will ruin it for everybody. Who knows? It's kind of like how Nick tried something like that. He's like, well. There when we saw Looper, the Looper story.
Yeah,
where,
he tried to threaten us.
Yeah, he said, "Well, he tried to threaten us with total mass destruction." He said, "Well, if because him and Jordan were in an argument, he said, well, I guess I'm not gonna. What was it?
Not gonna let you guys watch.
I'm not gonna let you guys watch it."
Yeah, he thought he could. He thought he could prevent us from seeing the movie.
Yeah,
when he's the one who needed us to see the movie.
How did I need you?
Because you wouldn't.
You don't know how to start it, did you?
Yeah, you didn't. Not at that time,
didn't I?
No.
Oh.
And it was just funny. Like, I'm gonna ruin this for you. And
I didn't watch it that night anyway.
No, you
You
didn't.
tried to ruin our night, and then you walked away like a baby.
I did. Fuck it.
It was me and Jordan.
I was there too.
Oh yeah.
Fuck it.
Oh yeah. Loopy. One for Loopy.
Fuck it.
All right. But yeah, I was gonna dive into why I picked this, just because it's been on my mind a little bit. We're having this stuff with North Korea. We're having this stuff with Trump. It's just back in the culture, and I just thought it would be a good idea to look at movies from the past that lived through something similar that we did.
Should have seriously picked either Good Day to, or wait, what's the Die Hard movie where they go into Chernobyl? It's the last one that came out.
Free and
Good Day to Die Hard.
Yeah, or Chernobyl Diaries, man. Those are two good ones.
Well, that has nothing to do with nuclear war.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe Live or Die or Die Hard does, but not Chernobyl Diaries. But
That's a great movie, Turtle Man.
So yeah, I just picked these. I thought it'd be interesting because I mean, it's different perspectives. Like A Boy and His Dog is very loosely based on this theme. It's just kind of the aftermath of what would happen
The World After.
Yeah, The World
Yeah.
After, and a horny
Yeah, they're all very horny.
Don
Johnson.
Don Johnson. Yeah. So I think we're gonna take a little break and then finally dive deeper into our movies. So what have we been watching? How about you, Nick?
I'm actually almost played out of going to the movies. I've been in the movies the past 4 days in a row, and overall, I saw some pretty good stuff. But I also saw really.
So you're played out? What do you mean?
Like I'm just
You
over
don't
it.
have to go.
I know, but I'm over it. Tomorrow I'm stoked because we're seeing Phenomena in the theater. But
That'll be cool.
yeah,
At the campus
Yup.
theater in Lewisburg.
but I'll talk about two things quickly. First movie I saw was yesterday, Geostorm. My God, that
Bad.
was one of the worst fucking movies I've ever seen in my life.
Will that make it on your end of the year worst list?
It'll
number one.
At the moment. It's number one.
Yeah.
On the worst.
Just like London Has Fallen.
No. It was so boring. It's that thing. I wanted to see Sci-Fi Channel 2012
Dude,
destruction.
All that Sci-Fi Channel stuff is boring as shit too, though.
But I don't think 2012 is boring because it's like so stupid that it's just entertaining
Is
to
this,
watch.
Did Roland Emmerich do this one?
No, Dean Devlin
Okay.
did,
Who
and
the
I think
who the
he,
fuck's
I
that?
think he's involved with Roland Emmerich, but this was his directorial debut. I think.
Protege,
Yeah,
probably.
I
Oh
think.
my
I
God.
don't know that for sure. But like 2012 had like Woody Harrelson play the fear mongering conspiracy dude, and he was goofy as hell in it, and like shit like that's entertaining to watch. But this was so fucking boring. And
Because it tried to play it like real.
it tried to play it so serious. It took itself so seriously.
Uh,
You didn't think it did? I thought it took it. There was hardly any room for levity or anything in it. It was just, and it was all up on this satellite. It was like, God damn it.
I thought it was fucking stupid.
You should have went to the theater with like DX or.
But I don't know what I think is exactly what I was expecting.
Really? See, I thought there'd be more Geostorm. That's what it lacked to me. Like
Not enough storms.
not enough bullshit that I wanted to see. I don't care about the scientific shit because it's ridiculous.
You
Yeah, so-
act like it was legitimate science. You act like they were.
Andy
just saying-
Garcia said it was.
I didn't understand it.
So you're mad that they basically told.
Barrier. That stupid one-liner that he said. Nobody fucking.
What
laughed
is
in the
what is
theater.
the climax if there's not like a big?
Gerard Butler
devastation?
stops it.
Oh,
Okay.
That's
They have to fit. They have somebody weaponized this huge satellite.
Is there a bad guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gerard Butler punches him out,
The bad guy's Ed Harris.
Oh, get
Spoiler.
spoilers.
and the bad guy was Ed Harris. Wasn't Ed Harris the bad guy in White House Down?
I never saw
James
White
Woods.
House Down.
Or no, wait, that was James Woods. Never mind.
Oh, he's a
He-
bad
he's a
guy. in
bad
real
guy.
going
life.
in real life.
But okay, go with your other thing.
Okay, and anyway, I saw a good one today. Thank you for your service, which I wasn't actually expecting to like as much as I actually did, but it was really solid.
Why?
It just in my opinion it depicted. I mean this
Yeah, do
this
you have
doesn't-
PTSD?
First
this
Dan-
doesn't mean shit because
Because you have CTE.
But it felt so. It really felt so viscerally real to me.
Yeah, it was like a touching portrait of.
Yeah, these three soldiers, Miles Teller being one of them, and I don't know the other actors' names, but one of the friends immediately comes home and all the shit's missing from his house. His girlfriend left him and brought the kid, and he commits suicide right away in front of her at work. And then
Jesus.
the other friend, and this is a true story apparently, and then the other friend is suffering from serious shit, and he like gets into drugs, and he gets involved with like these gangbangers who are trying to kill him. And then Miles Teller, who is trying to push it all aside to not show that he has effects by it, but he really does.
Yeah.
And I really liked it.
That is like a serious like the when you're explaining the plot like that. Like I didn't see the trailer, but when I see like "Thank you for your service," I'm just like
I think
I
that
roll
was,
my eyes.
Sounds like act of valor
truthfully, I
or
think
something.
that's
Yeah.
sarcasm
yeah, no,
in a way.
it's
Yeah.
not sarcasm, but it's yeah.
Like it's almost
tongue in cheek.
tongue in
Yeah.
cheek.
Yeah, all these people around here want to send him off to war, but they don't want to help him when they
when
get
they come back,
Yeah.
with the
they don't
effects
care.
of
Yeah.
and it just was not what I was expecting.
and it just worked.
I was expecting oorah oorah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think American Sniper is that movie too, but people take it the opposite.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I didn't see. I couldn't. I don't think it was enough or
Lone,
something like
Lone
that. but-
Survivor. I did not like Lone Survivor for that reason.
What about Hurt Locker?
Her Locker was okay.
That's a PTSD movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would recommend this movie. It's not hardly any war stuff. It's just mostly the aftermath. I would recommend it.
Okay. Well, Jamie's still here. Do you want to give what you watched recently?
Yeah, sure, man. So I haven't really been like hitting up the theater a lot lately.
That's okay.
But in the past couple days, with my 10th graders, we're doing a lot of short stories right now,
Cool.
like reading and writing short stories. So I've been watching.
Nick, they are like full books but smaller.
Remember when you were in Mr. Messimer's creative writing class? Didn't you write a short story about someone being crucified?
Oh shit! Really?
Hell yeah!
That's cool.
Did you tell the story really quickly? Or?
I forget. Weren't you in that class, Ben?
I had that class, but I wasn't in your class.
I forget what it was, but yeah, I just basically tried to write a fucked up story, so I have to read it in front of class.
I think I wrote a horror story too.
That's so funny. That's cool.
You had to read it in front of class?
Yeah.
A whole short story?
It was like 2
Like a
pages.
Oh, okay.
In high
That's
school,
cool.
In high school, if you top out at 2 pages, it's like, damn, dude, good job.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
know.
with
I remember that.
Yeah, so especially with my 10th graders, we're looking at short stories. So I've been watching a lot of interviews with George Saunders, big short story author.
I don't know who that is.
He just put his first novel out. It's called Lincoln in the Bardo.
Oh, I've heard of that book. Yeah.
Man. So George Saunders, really interesting guy, and like one of
No relation to Josh Saunders, right?
nope.
I knew that. I was lined up.
The King Cobra.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But so George Saunders, his whole thing with short stories is he's like, yeah, I was set out to write just a really nice story about like, there's a family and they go on vacation, and his thing is that it always ends up being like they went on vacation and the kids ended up dead in a lake. I don't know why it happens, but it just happens. So my whole thing is like trying to translate that into a way to describe the 10th graders that you have to like, you have to allow the story to go where it goes.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I've been watching a lot of interviews with him and also a lot of documentaries about right-wing militias,
Yeah.
because my whole thing is, especially in my part of central PA and like when I'm like out hiking and that kind of stuff, you always run into these houses that have like the trifecta of flags. There's the Confederate flag, the Marsden,
The Don't Tread on Me?
yeah, the don't tread on me flag, and then there's the Blue Lives Matter flags. And my thing is like all of those together cancel each other out. So I'm just like, who are these people?
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, what's your story? So I've been watching a lot of documentaries about these like three percenter guys, because I find them fascinating.
Yeah.
And like kind of terrifying,
Mhm.
and they've definitely been emboldened. And I'm just trying to figure out like what do you want, man?
Yeah, that reminds
sort
me.
of
There's a good. He's kind of a goofy British guy, Louis Theroux. You know who?
Oh yeah, I've heard of
He
him.
did a really good one with Nazis. Yeah, that I watched not that long ago, and there's something about it. Just looking on, like, because we're all white males. You know what I mean? And we're not on their side, but like we can. No, this sounds really bad, but like we all have similar points of view of them. You know what I mean? But their views are so much more twisted than ours.
Yeah, it's a weird thing to be a white man and like listen to a bunch of other white men say like, "Hey man, we're dying out. They're trying to kill us."
Exactly.
Like, who?
Exactly.
We're not dying out.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing better than ever.
Yeah.
We got one of our own back at the White House. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of shit. And I guess
Exactly.
there was just like a big another big Nazi march yesterday in like some back ass town in Tennessee. And I was watching a video of those guys, like, getting prepared and getting ready. And, like, as they're marching, their leader's like, come on, we got to start chanting. And, their chants just like, close the borders, save the white race.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what's happening?
Yeah.
Like, what version of reality are you seeing? So that's why these documentaries have been, like, especially interesting. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like anthropology, just like
Yeah.
watching these people just
Their
live
culture
there.
and how
Yeah.
they live. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so profoundly
Yeah.
different. So, yeah.
Ben, have you been watching anything good?
Yeah, we were kind of talking yesterday about how we're all kind of burned out on watching lots of horror movies this month for October. But Nick wanted me to bring this up for some reason, so I'll bring this up. I revisited Scream 4. And
Awesome
this is
movie.
this is
Okay.
coming off of our Wes Craven
Is that
month.
the newest one?
Yeah, it was the last
I
one.
saw that in theaters with Nick. I
Awesome
think.
movie.
I didn't care for it too much when I saw it the first time, and I still do not care for it that much this time. So Nick,
Awesome film.
Wow, what an in-depth fucking analysis.
I hate the ending. That's what
I don't remember it, and I saw it in theaters.
Emma Roberts, man. Emma Roberts.
it's like a twist off of
Oh,
the
yeah.
first one.
She was the killer.
The Sidney Prescott character of this new franchise is the killer, and like I think it's clever. I know what they're going for, but I do not buy the two killers in that movie whatsoever.
Jordan was the killer in this one. Jordan was the killer. Well, I thought the guy reminded me of Jordan in that when I saw it in theaters.
They have like
Was
a movie
it
club.
Rory Culkin?
Yeah,
or
he
something?
had long ass hair. He was a film nerd.
They had like a movie club.
There's
that
that character
reminded,
is in every Scream movie.
Yeah. Well, Jordan was
okay.
the killer.
All right, but it's Ben's time.
Yeah, but they have a movie club that kind of reminded me of like how we are. It was like an after school program.
Yeah.
It's like two guys going up and they're all talking about movies and shit. And I don't know. I just do not think like it fits well in the thing, like in the franchise of it. Nick tells me it feels just like one, but I disagree.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Roman is a cooler killer in Scream 3 than Emma Roberts?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I think Emma Roberts is really good in her the horror kind of stuff she does.
Yeah.
Do you think she's good in Scream 4?
I can't remember. I don't remember well enough. I think I probably did. I liked Scream 4. I think I would probably be a little more sour on it now just because I think the meta stuff at the beginning would annoy me.
Yeah, it's
You
way,
know what I mean?
I forgot about that.
I think that might be a little dated.
Yeah, there's like two false starts and then finally it starts, but it's like movie shit.
I don't even remember
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
I saw it.
I didn't think it held up very well.
I did like it in theaters. I had a very good time watching it, but I do worry that it might seem dated.
I would love to see Emma Roberts try to kill me. I would fucking stop that shit.
She made me cringe so bad. It was just so unbelievable.
She couldn't put a knife through me.
She was, and this is dumb, but she's short, and like when you see the killer in the movie, you're like, what killer are you in this movie? Because these are clearly adult male, like tall guys. So, yeah, don't care for it too much.
All right, Jordan, how about you?
I finished the second season of Stranger Things this morning.
Oh man,
I'm only 2 episodes
That was episode
in.
7.
Would you shut up
Really
about
bad.
episode 7?
I heard it
Jeez.
sucks ass.
Episode 7
Why?
is sticking out in my mind, and it is really fucking stupid.
Why?
That's what I heard.
Don't talk about because I've only watched 2 episodes.
It makes me seriously worry about the future of the show as like something. I'm like, this show is going to get real stupid real fast.
Is that the last episode?
No.
Oh, okay.
The last 2 episodes, I think it's good. You know, I think it's considerably worse than the first season. I think all the new characters are stupid.
Mullet guy,
especially, he's very stupid. He's shoehorned into the plot. It's fucking dumb. It's like if the first one wasn't like nostalgic enough, this one like tries like way harder to put that stuff in.
2 episodes in, there's been so many needle drops already.
Yeah, it's
people are not gonna like this part of the episode. People are getting mad. You can't talk shit on Stranger Things.
How's the dude that plays Hellboy?
he's awesome.
He's always good.
He is
in
he is great. His character is probably my favorite. There's some stupid 11 stuff. You know, it was a good season. But episode 7, now that you brought it up,
That's all Nick's ever going to bring up anymore about it.
is this kind of like world building episode.
Oh, okay.
You know, and it stands out separately from the rest of the show. It still fits into the plot, but it's not essential. They could have cut it. I wish they did. It's really stupid. I really hate it.
I just keep reading shit about it.
I'll let you know when I get there.
What
But I'm not there
where are
yet.
you reading stuff?
I actually think it was Letterboxd.
Huh?
Why are they logging that?
I saw something. I saw something on Instagram.
Maybe it was Instagram,
Yeah.
but people keep saying that episode 7 is like the worst
'cause
thing
I saw
they've
that
seen
too.
ever in television.
Yeah.
It's a risk.
and it doesn't
obviously-
pay off, clearly.
No, I thought it was very fun. Now your
I don't even know what happens.
expectations. Now I'm not gonna. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but you know you have one.
It's a big quality drop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm still watching as much horror as possible. I am Nick last episode where he was like, I'm so sick of horror.
Ready to move on for a little bit.
I am because that's all I've been watching other than some stuff in the theater and then
these movies.
and then these movies. But I fixed it recently because I watched some good horror. I watched The Witch. I watched Videodrome. I watched Death Proof. But just the rewatch of Witch. This was my first rewatch since it was in theaters, and I think one big thing about that movie is like atmosphere. And in a theater, you're gonna get it in its most pure. But I still think it held up to me in my room. It's fucking awesome. It's the music is fucking terrifying. The acting is great. I think it's a perfect horror movie.
I love it too. It was my number 2 last year. You know?
And I'm very excited for this guy to do Nosferatu.
I think that's sick. I love it. It's always I think it's kind of one of those perfect tests that you give people to see if they are like about their tastes. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are like, they fucking hate it.
It's like
because
like,
it's slow.
Yeah, and it's like a period drama,
and they don't get answers.
Yeah.
And, I fucking love it. It has so much atmosphere.
Yeah.
Man. My thing with the witch, and this might have just been like my own perception in the theater, but like, did they do any of that like I guess like it's not subatomic, but that's the word in my mind. Like the really low frequency sound stuff. Because I remember in the theater like feeling legitimately like physically ill a little bit. Like watching the movie, I was like, but it was dread. It was like it was a physical manifestation of dread.
Dude, I just want
that sort of thing.
Me and Dylan saw this in the theater by ourselves, and I remember after the first scene, we just looked at each other like, "Oh my fucking god!" Because it's the scene where the baby gets captured, and then like there's like a beat. I don't know if it's like there's low bass in the music, but the music is very terrifying. There's like a steady like squish noise in the music, and it's like the baby getting fucking squished into a jam and getting rubbed on on herself, like the witch is rubbing baby parts on her.
The other thing I noticed is like when that low bass cuts out, it's at like really stark moments. Like I remember there was like the one part I distinctly remember being like, I don't feel that bass thing anymore. Was when the mom comes out of her hallucination and like the crow's pecking at her breast or whatever, and because it's like there was none of the bass stuff, but it's just such a disturbing image that I was like, you didn't really need the bass for that one, did you?
Huh, the voice of Satan at the
Black
Phillip.
He
sounds so cool, and he's like a soft British calm voice.
Yeah.
And, it's so good. I love that movie. And then also I watched Death Proof again. I was watching with my roommate Chris, who loves cars, and he's like, "Is there any car horror movies?" I was like, "There's Christine."
There's a lot, Christine, Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah, Maximum Overdrive, The Car, and I was like, "Well, what?"
Short Circuit.
Duel, you could say that's not really a horror movie.
Yeah.
But
You
could.
Yeah. And I was like, "Well, have you ever seen Death Proof?" And like, he kind of likes that like nostalgic retro look, and I was like, "You would love this."
What's that
he
Frank
it.
Grillo movie on Netflix now?
Wheelman.
Yeah, is that supposed to be good?
I don't know.
I think it played at Fantastic Fest.
Yeah,
I'm into it if he's in it.
Yeah, it's like a Drive-esque role for him.
Sweet.
Yeah, so
I'll fucking check that out.
I think it
you'll
takes
watch
place in
Netflix.
a car though, or something.
Yeah, might not watch if it's on Netflix.
Really?
Fuck
You wouldn't watch it
Netflix.
if it was on Netflix?
Fuck Netflix.
Isn't that what it's on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Netflix original.
Because there's a couple things on that. But we got to get to
I'm anti-Netflix.
our movies. So, all right, we're gonna take another little break and get into the deep stuff.
Fuck Hulu and Netflix.
Hey guys, Ben, what did we watch?
First, we will be talking about Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. It was directed by Stanley Kubrick. It was written by Stanley Kubrick, Terry Southern, and Peter George, and it is based on the book Red Alert by Peter George. It was released in 1964, and it stars Peter Sellers, George C. Scott, and Sterling Hayden. The plot synopsis is: an insane general triggers a path to nuclear holocaust that a war room full of politicians and generals frantically tries to stop.
So, Jordan, is this in your top 3 Kubies?
I don't think so.
No?
I do love it.
Yeah.
But I love Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
That'd probably be like 2001.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, what about Nick? Shining. You know,
What's your top? What's your top number 3? You said Eyes Wide Shut's number 1.
No.
You didn't even say Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh,
I don't know, man. I would.
Barry
I like
Lyndon.
them.
Loves them all.
Barry Lyndon might be top 3.
really?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking amazing. I got my crit the other day.
Did you?
I can't
Holy
wait
shit,
to watch
dude!
it.
I thought you had better taste than that.
Yeah.
I want to watch it, just because of how much shit you've given it for no reason.
But
and
dude, it has
because
natural lighting.
it looks great from what I've seen.
I think it's the best looking movie ever.
Dude, it's lit by candlelight.
It is.
Did Roger Deakins shoot it?
You say worse shit though about worse movies.
Do I?
It's grimy. What? Nightmare Before Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a Tim Burton stage. He uses puppets or some fucking
Yeah.
shit you say.
This wouldn't be in my top 3, Kubrick. But
What- Let's hear yours.
Okay, let's hear yours.
Mm,
He doesn't even. You don't have any.
probably 2001.
No, probably Lolita
Never saw it.
because you're a fucking
Never saw it.
pervert.
Probably 2001 is my favorite,
I'd probably
honestly.
Paths
What's
of
that
Glory.
first one called that you didn't like?
Fear and Desire.
Fear and Desire
Yeah.
is bad.
Nick would probably like that one just because of his
it's
taste.
grimy. It's grimy.
I don't know. The Killing is amazing.
Killing.
Yeah, I like The Killing.
I
Shining
think
is
Clockwork
amazing.
Orange is a little overrated too.
I wouldn't say it's overrated. I don't think it's one of his best movies.
You think everything's overrated
Everything
from him.
that's supposed to be great is overrated to
The
you.
Shining overrated.
Well, okay, so like Clockwork Orange, they're just movies that are in like pop culture more than the rest of his movies.
Right.
Just
Which you
because a lot
haven't
of people
seen.
like them, they are overrated, in your opinion.
What do you think, Jamie?
My top 3.
Yeah.
Kubrick.
Sure.
Top 3. Probably The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, and Clockwork Orange.
Okay, they're
I would
good.
say.
Yeah, actually, Full Metal Jacket is probably my favorite one.
If I had to pick one that's overrated, it would be Full Metal Jacket.
Oh yeah, dude. All right. So as a movie, I could see like as an entire product because
Yeah.
that second, I guess the second act is bullshit.
You know,
know,
I
it's
actually like it.
ridiculous.
I actually like it a lot.
It's been-
More-
it's
it takes time to grow on you, but I think
Mhm.
like especially when you're watching it for the first few times, it seems totally overshadowed by the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now it kind of hits me the right way. I do love it, but it's probably my lower tier.
It's been a while since I've seen it, probably a
Lower
little
tier
bit after
Kubrick.
high
Yeah,
school.
I've only seen it once.
Nick likes that movie because he just likes that girl that says "sucky, sucky, $5."
I like Vincent D'Onofrio a lot in that movie.
Yeah, he's really good. I think all the performances are really good. I don't, like the Killing is probably be in my top 3 just because I kind of like that genre more. But 2001 and shit, I don't know.
Man, I like them all.
Yeah, I think The Shining and like Clockwork would maybe
Spartacus
be.
is lower tier.
It's funny. I've never seen Spartacus.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Piss on it.
I'm
Nick
sure you've
says.
seen it.
But okay, let's dive into Dr. Strangelove. Is this the first time for anybody? There has any ever?
I've
everyone-
seen it once.
Okay, yeah. It's awesome.
It's your first time, right?
Yep, there's a first time for everything.
Okay.
And what do you think?
It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't too bad.
Did you think?
wa-
Did you think it was funny?
Yeah, because I'm curious. So like on
I mean, in a dark comedic way, yeah.
yeah,
But I wasn't. I don't
make
know.
you laugh.
Some a little
because
bit.
it's very like screwball comedy, and then like
It's
Peter
weird to-
Sellers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw Peter Sellers was the main guy on it, I was
3
like,
guys.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, okay, this is gonna be. What wasn't he Pink Panther
He
or in the Pink Panther or whatever?
he was in the Pink Panther movies, but
Yeah.
he wasn't the fucking Panther.
Peter
She's in Lolita. Don't you like that
Peter
one?
Sellers. Who?
Lolita.
Never saw it.
I never saw
Oh,
it.
I
either.
thought
No.
I thought you were.
That was me just lying
The
about it.
shorter runtime was I appreciated.
You
for
know,
this one.
That seems to be your general.
If it's 90 minutes,
If it's
it's
90
okay.
minutes, you like it.
If
and
it would have been any longer, I would have been like, all right, let's sum this shit up.
Well, yeah, this movie's just short and sweet. It just it jumps in between like what 4 places: the plane, an army or an air force base, the war room, and
George C. Scott's like hotel room.
yeah, yeah, for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really, it's only like a couple spots. There's a good like, you could say like the tone is not uneven, but it's just like mixed up, but I think it holds it really well because it'll do, this like dark satire. Then there'll be like a hint of like screwball comedy where like a Coca-Cola machine will be shot and like Coke will squirt in like the Army Ranger's face.
It was kind of weird for me to put my head around the fact that it was a Kubrick movie.
Yeah.
He's diverse, man.
It just didn't really.
Yeah.
It certainly separated itself from all the other shit that I've.
Well, there's definitely touches of it in here, his shit in here for sure. Like the whole anti-war ideas, and also like sex. He always, if it's not up front, he's always hinting at like the psychology or like the idea of sex to people. Because this is very like based on like the insecurities of like masculinity or insecurities of sexuality, and because like the whole idea of what Sergeant Jack Ripper or Lieutenant Jack Ripper, who's Sterling Hayden talks about he came up with this idea that could ruin the fucking world during sex. And he became paranoid because the commies will take his fluid, which also is very reminiscent of something fucking Alex Jones would fucking say.
InfoWars. The fluoride. It's going to be in your donuts and your baby's milk.
Making the frickin' frogs gay.
Yeah.
So, there's just weird. That's so weird when is this movie? Fucking how many years old?
Like 50 years
50
old.
years old. That there's people in this world that still think like that.
He is mocking those people, which were, I'm amazed that people even talked about it that much back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now it's just absolutely everywhere. Because Breitbart and InfoWars and all that shit is like mainstream now.
Yeah.
They're in the White House, during briefings. But in regards to like style, it's a lot more stationary than most Kubrick movies. I still think it looks like a Kubrick movie.
Yeah.
Especially on those like early shots where they're talking on the phone and stuff, and they just have like a kind of weird perspective.
And like the mirrors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. I also noticed every shot with Dr. Strangelove himself, he's almost always centered, and there's like there's some amount of like congruency all around him where it's like this guy is supposed to be the center of the center of attention, and yet he's not in the movie that
he has
much.
like 2 scenes,
Yeah, he doesn't pop up until like the last 20 minutes.
And
it's funny because he's at the table the entire time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're just like, "What's your opinion?"
You see him in the background.
Yeah.
Well, the war room looks awesome.
Oh yeah.
It has that overhead ring lighting. It just looks fucking like cold and sleek. And I guess it was designed by some guy who works on James Bond movies. He's the set production designer in James Bond movies, and it totally looks like
if
that.
I imagine the war room, it will always look like that. You know what I mean? That is what's in my head.
Yeah, it's also the mixture of shots worked really well for me. Like, just like the cinematography of like you get these really tight close-ups of like the president's face and that sort of thing, and then it would pull back to a big old long shot of the entire room where you're like, oh, there's a lot of people.
Yeah. There's like 40 dudes and all old white dudes in charge of the world.
Yeah.
On that ring, and it's so I guess that was the cinematographer from the New Hope, Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Okay.
But it does have that like taste of like early Kubrick like photography, where it's like the lighting is really done well, and it's black and white, and like reminiscent of when he was like a photographer in New York City.
Yeah, for like Look magazine.
Yeah.
The only thing that's different is the battle footage is more like documentary style.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do that type of stuff a lot.
Yeah.
So that might seem a little out of place. But in regards to the characters, each one of these people kind of like represents like a small personality trait of Donald Trump. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So if you like combine them all, you have like the monster that we are dealing with on an everyday basis.
Fucking Frankenstein.
And I think he may have watched this movie a lot as a little kid, or maybe his dad
he was
did.
raised by it.
Yeah.
He
didn't get it though. It's like Citizen Kane.
Not getting the joke.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, this is how people should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, later on, I guess we can go into that idea where it's just like, I don't know. Anyway, but there's like a ton of like, the opening is shot beautifully. Like the air photography is really good, and then it gets really bad. It's like the model airplane with like the background of just like mountains. Were they supposed to be in Russia?
Well,
is
they're
Russia?
flying. Yeah,
I think the pilots are supposed to be like circling around the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea is I guess it's something. Again, this was like one of those real policies where they always had someone around the Soviet Union
prepared.
where it was like within 2 hours you had to be able to strike whatever target they were going.
So
for.
I know this was based off a real book that was serious, and they were writing it as a serious film. But then Stanley Kubrick was like, "This is so ridiculous. This is a paradox is interesting, but like this is stupid." Like he was probably just flipping out. This is so stupid, and I don't know much about his like personality, or I can't even hear his voice. You know what I mean? I don't know what he sounds like.
I can hear his voice.
Do you know?
I know what he sounds like.
Pretty much every book he wants to adapt to, he completely will change it.
That's true. Yeah,
like The Shining.
Yeah, he finds
Clockwork Orange is even a little different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and I kind of think it's for the better, because I think like,
he makes the movie he wants to make regardless of the source material. So.
Yeah, and they're usually like maybe not. I was gonna say they're like appreciative of the source material, but I don't think
Stephen King may not have thought so,
No,
but
yeah.
I can see some of the.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a little upset.
Yeah, I think he's doing okay this year.
Yeah, I think so too.
But yeah, it just like ridicules the whole idea of the Cold War, of just like these two groups of guys just sort of trying to scare each other and just arguing over what, you know what I mean, like dominance.
Who's got the bigger bomb? Yeah,
who has more mines. They at the end they were talking about digging into the earth to survive the doomsday device and living in mines, and they're like, well, there's going to be a mine gap because the Russians are going to have more mines than us, and we cannot have that. And they talk about the missile gap, which is a real fucking thing. So it's just like a total teardown of the real Cold War that was going on at the time, and turning it into like there's these sexual allegories of the one military man is just like a horny playboy, and it's just showing the ridiculousness of, I think, human nature.
He gets a call on like the defense phone, and she's like, "Oh, it's more than physical," Yeah, it's like so ridiculous that.
Yeah, and it's so funny because that's like Anthony Weiner shit. You know what I mean? Like politicians still being horny fucking guys while they're probably working. You know what I mean? And being distracted from big, serious, real world issues. Yeah, and like I absolutely love the conversation of the president talking to the Russian prime minister. Where he's just like.
The premier, what's he call him?
Yeah, and he's just like, the premier's just waking up or something like that. And he's like, I'm fine.
You don't want to say hello just to say hello to me?
Yeah, he's like, you're fine too. Yes, it's good to be fine. And like having this like nonchalant conversation while like the world is literally ending. There's so many good gags of stuff in the background, and
it's so crazy how much the ambassador in the war room meeting with these people echoes modern day events as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with Russia.
Yeah.
I think knowing, like, because obviously we're all more savvy to politics in our current day and age, and just like the first time I saw it, I wasn't quite as much.
Yeah.
So then watching it this time, like I picked up on way more of like the actual real like political nature of it, and then saw like the ridiculousness of everything else that was going on.
All like the nuances, the small stuff.
Yeah,
man. I guess like the big thing that I was thinking about too is like just considering like the optics of launching a nuclear weapon, and how you see like the president kind of dealing with this idea of like, man, all right, I want to do this, but I don't want to be considered the greatest mass murderer since Hitler.
Yeah,
and he's like, so like, how are we going to frame this? What are we going to say?
And 20 million killed tops.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, we're gonna have to muss up our hair to get stuff done or something like that.
Yeah, George C. Scott tries to turn it into
like
a
20
power
million
play.
people
He's
isn't
so
that
good.
many people. He's
I
good.
think everybody's good in it, but man, he is so good in it. His like, he is like a screwball like comedian in that. Like he's just like sort of he's falling around and making faces and chewing gum and making noises, and because I don't think he's like that in anything else.
No,
not that I can think that I've seen.
Patton maybe.
What's really funny that he's basically playing a character he always does.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He was kind of like that in Hardcore.
No, he's not.
I know. I'm just kidding.
I
like
I
all you have.
I didn't really like Hardcore.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought it was awesome.
I thought it was okay. It was definitely more hyped than I thought it would be.
It was about as comedic as this.
You didn't think? So you didn't think this was funny?
What? It was okay. It was
like
it was,
like the guy riding the nuclear
you don't think
bomb
that's
at the
awesome?
I
end.
don't think shit. I don't. It takes a lot to make me laugh.
I know what makes you laugh.
What?
Like poop and fart. And
No, the animal. Like
the hot chick.
And the hot chick, but he knows they're shitty jokes. That's what makes him laugh. Like shitty jokes that he knows that are shitty, but are like so forced and it's awkward. And he just like he loves those little things, like in the hot chick where it's like
What about a brewski?
yeah, like stuff like that. It's just like little dumb things.
What
that
about
stick
when he's
with him.
falling down the bleachers and it's the same shot over and over again?
and
it's
you
really
think
him.
it's real.
It
and
is real.
It's a stunt guy.
And then when the dad elbows him in the fucking nose, that makes me flip.
Yeah, just like small like corny shitty comedy just makes you laugh.
No, this was funny in a satirical sense.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was, but it's not the type of movie that makes me
It's
fall
not
over.
laugh out loud.
Yeah.
No, it's a subtle it's a subtle kind of
I
comedy.
think I've seen it too many times to make me like laugh out loud.
Yeah.
You know, but it's still so good anyway. It's just like brilliant, you know.
It's like an Onion article 50 years before. The
Yeah.
movie.
Oh,
exactly.
Man. Oh man, totally. That's a perfect description for it.
Like I could see the title of the article just being like, 50 white men decide to destroy the world
Yeah.
while getting a call
Exactly.
from their mistress. or whatever.
Like over a phone call. Yeah. 50 white dads destroy the world over a phone call.
50 pairs of New Balance sneakers.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
good.
I think Sterling Hayden is probably the best here, just because he plays it so straight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
He's so serious, and that shot of him smoking that cigar is the best fucking shot
It's
ever.
so awesome.
Yeah, I love
like,
that
it's
shot.
under him. It's so weird because it makes like, this is just like a weird thing I picked up. It was just like, it makes like a 3D image look 2D because it's like flat and like the way it like.
It's like the Kubrick glare without being menacing. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Even though I think he kind of what he's doing is menacing.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's very strange.
And there's something so it's funny, but it's something like so scary about like, yeah, what Ben said earlier, just a guy who clicks and goes wild and kills.
No one can stop him.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Trump. It only takes him like 15 minutes to.
I think it might be less.
Yeah,
and
for the nuclear. Yeah.
and there's no intermediate. It's just him. He can make the decision
yeah.
and do it.
So I was I was listening to nuclear bomb facts on YouTube before you guys got here, and there was like, I don't remember the number anymore, but it was just like it was an insane amount of nuclear weaponry that we have. Like we can kill the population of the world like 10 times over.
You know why Rex Tillerson called him a fucking idiot?
Why?
Because in a meeting, Donald Trump said, or a fucking moron. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
In a
Moron,
meeting,
yeah.
he requested to increase our nuclear arsenal tenfold.
Yeah, like
Like we don't already have enough.
Yeah.
we have enough to obliterate the planet like 40 times or something like that. And like it's so ridiculous. It's funny. Like why would you need that?
That's why like it was so yakety saxy to me when
Yeah.
they it was what was it, like the first month of Trump's presidency when they were down at Mar-a-Lago and they misplaced the nuclear football. Like they misplaced they had the codes somewhere. They're like, guys, who has the codes? And they're like, well, I don't know. I was imagining in the background like everyone is like running
Like
around
them bobbling stuff around
like
and
Scooby-Doo like between rooms kind of thing, being like, where's the codes?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That's what it also. There was resonance.
Like Barron
of
Trump
that.
picked him up, and like
Hey,
running
Dad.
away.
pushes them on like his like PS4 code and like the world blows up or something. Because that's how technology works. But yeah, so Nick didn't really like it, I guess, that much, but that's okay. But this is like filled with innuendos. I don't remember all the names. Ben, do you have the names in front of you at all?
I have
Like
some
Jack
of
D.
them.
Ripper.
Yeah, Jack D. Ripper. There's so many like innuendos. Like there's like Buck,
Buck
Lionel Mandrake.
Turgidson.
Lionel Mandrake, and like what
Buck
Turgidson.
Turgidson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like all these goofy fucking like sound like Tim and Eric names. You know what I mean? Of it's all these like sexual innuendos. And the end is perfect. Well, actually, on this rewatch, every time I think about this movie, I always think it ends with the bomb going wahoo, eat a baloo, and
yeah.
he's like flipping
Yeah.
out. But then there's a scene after that, and it like
Two technically, because that's when he does that, and then Dr. Strangelove reveals his plan with the mines, and and that's when the Doomsday device goes off, and they do the "We'll Meet Again" song, which is amazing.
Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah,
But like I just always think it's like they should like switch the bomb and the I can walk.
Do you,
but
you
there's-
think it should open the montage?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I know what you mean.
There is something about like it's a miracle I can walk, and it's so abrupt, which
I think it's
makes sense.
I think it's a joke that while a nuclear weapon has hit the ground, that they're still talking about this shit. You
That
know
is
what I
good
mean?
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That like they can fix it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good. Yeah, actually, I do like that. Thinking about that more.
I mean, it's weird to think. So, like, in some place, there's going to be like pandemonium, and then these guys are like, "Huh? So It hit the ground, huh?
Oh, it did.
Huh. We're looking at it right now. Yep, that's what's that? 20 million? 20 million dead.
Oh, cool. And then
Just wasting their time watching Dr. Strangelove try not to like show his like Hitler pride, you know?
Well, man, that fucking holds water now. Like a guy trying to hold in his Nazi white supremacy things that it just works today. Nick is shaking his head, slamming his fist on the ground, saying, "No, no, no! Please don't bring that up. It's really weird."
I'd give it a 3.
Oh, so okay.
Oh, okay.
A 3?
Yeah, I'll give it a 3.
That's. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. It's better than Halloween.
Yes, it is 5. Yeah, I went 5.
Okay.
I give it a 4.
I'd say like roughly a 4. Yeah.
Well, a 4? Okay.
Yeah, you said roughly a 4.
So yeah,
Notice
like
that.
3.75.
Yeah.
It's still
When Jamie has his own scoring system on here, that's cool. No, I like that.
we didn't attack him over it.
Not better than Halloween.
Okay, that's fine. We're gonna take a break and we're gonna watch The Hot Chick. Woof woof, Ben. What did we watch?
We watched A Boy and His Dog. It was written and directed by L.Q. Jones.
I just thought about that woof woof thing. Like delayed.
It was based on a novella by Harlan Ellison. It was released in 1975, and it stars Don Johnson, Jason Robards, and Suzanne Benton. The plot synopsis is a young man and his telepathic dog wander a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
This movie looked like shit.
Dude,
Yeah,
it
it
looked
does.
fucking bad.
I hate movies that look like that.
The lighting was so bad. The action was bad.
It was so short, too.
It was, and it took me twice to watch it. This was directed by a fucking actor.
Yeah, I don't know who this is.
Yeah, like a
LQ Jones.
I don't
Yeah.
get how a movie in the 70s like this can look so shitty, and then movies
Probably
back
was
in
made
the
for
40s
nothing.
and 50s can look great.
talent and no talent.
Yeah.
But if this got restored, it would still look like garbage.
Yeah, because the lighting and the setup was bad. It's a horrible looking movie, and I think it's a cool idea, but I think it kind of falls in on itself because it's trying to show a world that's gross and misogynistic, but I think
It is
in
gross.
itself
It
is
is gross and
gross
misogynistic.
and misogynistic. You know what I mean?
I agree.
When I read the plot, I was like, "Holy shit, this movie's going to be pretty sweet."
Yeah.
Like I thought
And
it'd
it
be
has
really
it
interesting.
has a cult following, because I found it on like the top 20 must see sci-fi movies you've never seen before, or you never heard of, and I was like, okay, and people were commenting like, oh, this is a cool movie. I did not. I think that the idea is very cool, going into an underground world that's a mock-up of like
Mad Max type shit.
Yeah, this is before Mad Max, so
Yeah.
I got to give it that. It made an
It
imprint.
might be like the first apocalyptic movie where there's like underground societies
Yeah,
and
it
stuff
made an impact on culture, I think.
I think back then it's like when you have the great idea and you can't really execute it, it's a big mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously you have to overcompensate for your like technical abilities.
Yeah.
Where now it's not so much.
But even it's not even just like even simple things didn't look good though. Like a shootout in a gymnasium didn't look good. It just technically it's just not there. And
Like all the fights, too.
Yeah.
They all just looked so bad.
and also storytelling wise, there's so many things that are not mentioned, and it just things happen. And you're like,
I didn't buy their romance whatsoever.
No.
Yeah, he was like trying to rape her
rape
at
her.
first, and
And
then
he's
like
well, I don't.
Well, actually, you don't have to because she
yeah,
baits
it's-
him.
That's her intention is to basically recruit people for the underground
Yeah.
society.
But-
none of it makes sense. Even the end,
Yeah,
she's supposed to
be eaten.
be eaten, but
and I think it's kind of cool, but like,
it's really hard to tell.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just like, where'd she go? And they're just like, oh, that tasted pretty good.
Yeah, and like there's
He's
like,
like,
I think
"I'm not
her, I
hungry."
think her ripped up dress is like in the shot.
Yeah.
But it's fucking dark, so you can't
Yeah,
see.
and like,
Yeah,
I did laugh at the dog's voice.
is that the guy from Knight Rider? It sounds like the.
I don't know.
It
Sound
might
like-
be.
I thought the dog was kind of funny, but I mean,
Blood.
yeah.
And it took forever to
Get to the underground.
like 45 minutes to
I
get.
thought
probably
the
longer.
underground. I lost interest in that
Yeah,
immediately.
it was so messy.
It makes me think of Brazil a little bit.
Yeah, but
I was more interested in the beginning, and then once they
Yeah.
actually got down into the meat of the story, I stopped really giving. a
yeah,
fuck.
and like
They were all wearing like weird makeup and
like
shit.
white face, and then
Yeah.
like he was getting semen sucked out
It
of him.
takes too long for to find out what kind of movie this is.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
Yeah.
Because I don't care about Vic is a gross human.
Yeah,
You know, there's nothing.
and like it's trying to be like, oh, we're not supporting, but like it was playing off as a joke at some times. Of
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it's trying to say if it's like anti this. I just didn't get that vibe. You know what I
No.
mean? That might be its intention, but I don't think it
I-
pulled it off.
No,
if
I don't.
it just
think so
feels
either.
gross.
Well,
Yeah.
and the fact that he goes to the underground to get this girl, and then when he comes back up, he immediately sacrifices her. So what was the point of him even going there?
The fuck.
The whole thing just makes no sense.
He was so excited when they told him his job would be to get like
Woo!
35 people
Yeah.
pregnant.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Couldn't
Yeah,
wait-
this is just like Nick's. Like
Couldn't
this
fucking
is
wait
just
to
like
come.
a post-apocalyptic story of Nick.
Dream.
couldn't
Yeah.
wait to fucking come.
Nick and Ira, little Ira.
Yeah,
They plugged him up to that machine, that like
Yeah.
little cum sucker. They were hoping. But what do you think about the robot guy? He's like Michael Myers.
He was a
right?
fucking
Yeah, just kept getting shot.
dude. He was the shape.
Yeah, he was the shape.
Oh, is that what they were calling
Did
him? The
Dick
shape?
Warlock play him?
Dick War. Yeah.
Dude, how am I supposed to know he was a fucking robot?
You don't know until he gets
He-
destroyed.
Yeah, you see him short circuit.
But,
basically.
but it's just fireworks on the guy's back, and you can see him like.
Yeah, I wonder what the budget on this thing was because it had to have
I
been
bet
low as
minuscule.
hell.
We could fucking shoot it now.
Yeah, how about it?
I didn't think it was that bad though. Like Geostorm bad. I
No,
thought it was-
no, I don't think it
I
was
still
Geostorm
didn't like
bad
hate
either.
my life watching it.
I thought it was bad.
you?
I was disappointed. In
I just
my
thought it was
pick.
dumb.
I was disappointed in my pick. Because like I thought it would like have show like a life after the bomb. You know what I mean? And
But did it cum sucker?
a little bit.
I think
I
it
should've-
has. I think it has an interesting world.
Yeah.
It's a peculiar movie, but it doesn't work.
There's 2 world wars after,
Yeah. I think,
basically. World
Yeah,
War
the second
III and
one
World War
was
IV.
5 days long.
yeah, I thought that was cool.
Like how fucking old is this dog? Because he knows everything.
Yeah, that he survived. These wars.
I
This-
felt bad when he was hurt.
Well, he ate
Well,
the
he
girl
got-
at the end. He got better.
He was fucking What the hell's that?
he
That
got in a-
dog's an idiot.
He-
First of all, he fights that like Rottweiler or something. He gets his ass beat, and then he sits by that door for like 2 weeks.
that
He would be dead.
That dog is an
Did
idiot.
they say why he can only
He needed to
communicate?
eat.
He did
Neat.
something to become like
They
get
didn't make it
telepathic
clear.
powers, but he can only communicate with that person.
Yeah,
they
he-
don't say why.
He was because nuclear bombs. That's what happened.
Because nuclear. That's so funny. Fuck
well,
blood.
it influenced Fallout
Yeah, I saw that.
because he called it the dog meat, and that's the name of your like dog in the Fallout games and like
Cool.
underground
I
bunkers.
can see
and-
that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, other than it's like influential topic, but that was probably really never portrayed on screen, other than maybe like some Roger Corman. You think that would be before that?
Maybe. What year did Walkabout come out? I don't think they're necessarily about the same things, but they have a
no,
similar look.
feel.
Yeah, yeah,
But like, well, and also I could tell that this was shot all in the same spot.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah,
like they
like
probably
same rock is in the
Yeah.
foreground of every scene.
they probably like dug the 3 holes and put a door there, and and you, like the mountain range was in the background
Who
of
the
the same
fuck
spot.
would go to that movie theater?
I would
I would
if I had nothing to
don't
see.
need a movie pass that fucking.
It just
You had to
blows
give
my
him a
mind that
can
this
of
guy.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like a black comedy, but
Yeah.
this guy was just a perv.
Yeah.
He's like,
They're
I have-
all pervs. They're all
And,
so
like,
horny.
But it
they're-
holds up.
But there's things, there's things that work about like we've seen movies that have perverts in it that work, but
Yeah.
like it's
he's just a perv.
yeah,
He literally is. He's like, it hasn't been that long since you ate. When he says it's been 6 weeks since he got laid.
yeah, and like oh, she could have been used 2 or
Like
3
he
more
had
times.
this dog has
Oh.
this dog has a fucking woman detector.
Yeah, he
What
can
the
sniff
fuck
out
is that?
women.
And it's is he sniffing them out because it beeps?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't even think about the
Yeah,
Yeah.
the more we talk about, the dumber it gets.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
It holds up.
Shut up. Quit screaming.
Sorry.
Oh man, but it doesn't hold up.
Yeah, what do you mean it holds
I know
up?
I'm just being sarcastic.
like I kind of like the idea that the underground represents like it's like Topeka, Kansas, like the underbelly, and
Yeah.
they all have white face and
Yeah.
stuff. There's like some interesting things there, but there's nothing.
It's
they
such
don't
a mess.
They don't show us anything.
And also
they
the,
just bring up what are they called, like the council or the
the committee.
don't
the
fucking
committee,
know.
and who were
And
these guys?
The,
and
the audio is so bad. There's like a
Yeah, I noticed
loudspeaker
that.
over top of them, and like I couldn't understand what they're saying and who's who.
I didn't get it at all when that guy's running away. The 3 people try and stop him, and then they join them.
Yeah, then they get shot.
And then they
Or
get,
no,
well,
they
they get their
get-
neck snapped by the shape. Neck snapped by the shape.
I like Book of Eli more.
I would. Okay.
What? Because there's desert shit? What?
Good for you,
Because
man.
it's
Post-apocalyptic.
apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's probably fucking more.
Movie's fucking stupid too.
Movie's awesome.
I
He
remember.
remembered the Bible.
I remember the house at the apartment. Everyone's like, "Look, Eli's awesome," and Jordan would shut it down at Jake's apartment,
Oh, really?
and people would get mad at you.
I don't remember.
I
but
remember
that's
that.
funny.
Movie's awesome.
Well, Denzel's definitely better than Don Johnson.
Yeah. I like Don Johnson.
You like him in this?
No. He's in
What about
douche in
Blood?
this.
What about Blood?
I like Blood. I like Blood. I thought he was funny.
There was moments that made me laugh, like some of their dialogue, but overall,
What was the reason they stuck the stick in her green dress and hung it up? To
because
see
of
if
the
they would shoot at
screamers.
it?
Because of screamers.
The screamers.
They're
So the ones that are trying to get the women? Was that what they
well,
are?
no. So there was like a radioactive monster
Oh,
I don't remember
that
that.
Yeah.
that was growling, and he faked it at first, but then him yelling and growling called it over,
I don't remember it either.
and then they're like, "Oh, the real one's here," and they ran away.
Yeah, I must have been lost.
Yeah.
Lost.
Nick didn't even.
There's no reason this movie had to take in. I guarantee. I bet it was an hour before it went underground, and then the story ends because you don't know what it's about.
It
First
did
of all,
fly by.
where the fuck is Over the Hill? Why didn't we figure that out?
Well, that's kind of cool of this thing that we never see, but
they don't care.
yeah.
She's like, well, let's go there, and he's like, I don't know where it is.
Yeah. Well, it's a novella. It's
Yeah.
based
The
off a
book?
novella. Yeah.
The book.
So there was not enough material for them to develop, and the guy who developed it is an idiot. I
Yeah,
guess.
it's like they
His
took
name's LQ.
the general idea of like what a boy and his dog would be like through,
Yeah.
but like there's nothing there really.
Yeah. It's
I think The Road is a great movie.
Yeah.
you can do great stuff with this kind of
yeah.
subject matter.
I regret
LQ
picking
Jones
this.
couldn't.
LQ Jones could no.
It holds up.
I regret. I should have picked Planet of the Apes or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. It's
Oh,
not, you can't
2.5.
win them all.
that's high.
2.5.
I'm gonna give it a 1.5.
1.5.
I'm going to.
Yeah, I'm going to.
2.5. You kind of liked it.
I did.
You think it's almost as good as Doctor Strangelove?
I do. I do.
What?
He's just saying that he likes that shit. All right, we can wrap this episode up. Thanks to Jamie for being on here and talking to us and
What's the next episode?
goofing off. We are doing
Miracle Mile.
Miracle Mile and Akira.
Yeah, that's right.
Shakira.
Yeah. So
I
Nick,
actually own Miracle Mile, and I didn't realize that.
Really?
I thought
That's
you were-
cool.
I thought you were gonna say I owned Akira.
yeah.
No, I never.
So Nick is gonna have to dive into yet again another anime.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I've never seen it yet.
I've only
I'm-
watched like a little bit of it on a download, and I had like stupid subs. So
Only one I ever watched was Perfect Blue. So
what's Perfect Blue?
I don't know.
It's a well-regarded
yeah,
anime.
Is it?
Yeah,
Is
I
it?
really want to see it.
That's
What-
so random that you
Is it?
I think I added it to my watch list or something, and he,
And he
kept-
probably
keeps,
saw it.
Yeah, he keeps bringing it up. He's like, "What is that movie?" And he's been looking for it forever.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
if you want to contact us, we are at anotherlookpod@gmail.com.
Do we have a bonus episode coming up? Is that this
Oh,
month?
Yeah.
end of November we do.
We'll have to figure out
Do
how we
wanna
want to do that.
A
Perfect Blue.
listener's choice.
Yeah, we can make a post and see what
Yeah.
all we get, and then we'll
Let's do
come
that
up with
tonight.
something.
If
Yeah.
you're hearing this, send them to the email
Yeah.
Or the Facebook.
or
Yeah.
the Facebook.
So we'll gather them before
DM me.
we'll gather them before our next episode and pick 2 and watch them. So we're gonna wrap it up. Anotherlookpod@gmail.com. Email us. Facebook.
iTunes. If you use if
iTunes.
you listen to our podcast and you've never rated and reviewed it, does help. It
Yeah.
brings it up a little
Yep.
bit. So
Nick has one last word.
I was gonna say, if you didn't do it, then thanks for fucking nothing.
So we're gonna end on that. Thanks a lot.